What's up, man? It's Vash. This is video number 3 for me today. And I want to do another series overview of Chivalry of a Failed Knight. What was it? Rakudai No Chivalry? I think. I could be wrong. But yeah, I want to do a review of Chivalry of a Failed Knight. If I had to give this series something out of 10, I personally thought the series was cool. I did like it. I did enjoy the series. I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10. And I'm going to tell you why. One, the characters were great. I liked Ikki. Stupid name, but I liked him. You know what I'm saying? I like Ikki. I like Stella. She was a typical tsundere, sort of princess sort of character. She reminded me, you know, exactly of Euless from the Astrid Wars. You know, she reminded me of her. Great character. She's a typical tsundere. I liked Shizuku, his sister. Pretty dope character. She was the sort of cold, emotionless sort of character. It was almost weird because she was almost like a kudere, but not really. Kind of, yeah. It was almost like she was like kudere and yandere mixed together almost, because she was a cold sort of character to everyone else. She didn't let anyone else in her world or whatever, but she did have this affection for her brother. And when people got close to her brother, she had that killer instinct. So yeah, she was kind of like a mixture of them both. The dude, Alice, he's an interesting, mysterious sort of character. You need to know more about his background specifically. You know, pretty interesting characters or whatever. The characters were interesting. The story itself was also interesting. It's almost like a Rocky sort of story, because they're this guy, you know, all the stacked up against him or whatever. He doesn't have the aptitude for magic as everyone else does. He's a rank F. But at the same time, he perseveres and he's able to just kind of get through the odds. You know what I mean? Just on some Rocky shit, because he trained himself. Even though he's not allowed to take classes because he can't do magic, he still perseveres and he's able to take out some pretty top fighters. So this is pretty dope. Another reason why I liked it, because this is supposed to be like a harem, right? Like a romance harem sort of thing. They got to the fucking romance part. They got to it and through it quickly. That's the first time I've ever seen that shit in like a harem. It shocked me. It shocked me. I was like, what the fuck? In episode 4. I think 4 or 5, one of the two, when he's fighting against the dude Kaga something, the guy who can shoot the arrows and turn invisible and use that force to hide himself and that shit. When he's fighting that guy, Stella says, you know, you can't be like this. You know, the person who I like can't be like this. None of bullshit. And he stood back up. Ikki stood back up, and he proceeds to defeat the guy. And when Ikki's in the hospital, he says, "Look, I like you too." He says, "I like you. I just had to tell you that shit, that I like you." You know. And she gets all flustered and all that sort of shit. And she says, "You know, close your eyes." She kisses him on the cheek, and then he's like, "Do you like me too?" And she's like, "Yeah." And they get through it quick. I think it was like either episode 4 or 5. I can't remember, but they get through that shit quick, which was that shit rare in the fucking anime that's centered around a harem or centered around romance. They don't usually get to that shit that quick. They got to it quick in Chivalry of a Failed Knight, which I appreciated, because it wasn't any of this, ooh, who we going to end up being with? It's going to be her, it's going to be her, it's going to be her, it's going to be her. This fucking weird ass banter that's going on. I don't like that shit. So it was dope to have a harem aspect with a character that has a girlfriend. It's pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? Because they technically were lovers at that point, but he still had female admirers. So that's pretty cool. They got through that shit real quick. The powers were interesting. I thought they were very, very interesting. It was on some generic sort of shit, because they were just summoning swords and using elements to their, you know, whim and all that bullshit. But I thought specifically, the student council president who did the Rakudai, the lightning shit, and Ikki's power. I thought that shit was pretty dope. I thought it was pretty dope because he technically was using a form of magic, right? But not to the extent of everyone else. You know, he can just read through their techniques and analyze it and come up with a way to beat it. That shit was pretty dope, you know. And even the tragic instances in the show worked well, with him being ostracized by his family because of his low aptitude for magic, with the confrontation with his pops when he went to go talk to his dad, and his dad was kind of like, "No, it wasn't that I never accepted you. I never expected shit from you." So. And that's fucked up to hear from your dad. You know what I'm saying? His dad pretty much said, "Oh no, it wasn't that I didn't acknowledge you. I was always looking at you. I just wasn't never going to expect shit from you. Because people like you shouldn't have expectations and bars to set." I was like, damn. That's fucked up to say to your son, nigga. I'm just like, shit. So that shit was pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? That shit was pretty dope. They wrapped that shit up quick, and that's something that I appreciated. You know what I'm saying? I might have to read the light novel that this shit is based on just to go further into the story. But it's pretty cool that they got through that shit quickly because it was only 12 episodes, and this shit had some pretty good fights. When he fought the Sword Eater guy with the Orochimaru sword, that was a pretty dope fight. And then if they make a season 2 of this, we can see them motherfuckers fight again because that dude is also a part of the tournament shit that's going on. So that shit was pretty dope. They got through that shit relatively quick, which I'm happy with because the pacing wasn't stupid. Because usually when they get through shit like that very, very quickly, the pacing is dumb. But this one was great because it got through it quickly, it nailed the points, it fucking hit home, and that was it. Pretty good. So I recommend this series to everyone to watch though, man. If you into this sort of shit, you into like harem romance / action shonen sort of, you know, anime, give it a shot. I know everyone wouldn't put this shit on their top list probably because of the romance and the silly elements to it, but I think that's what makes the show work because it gets through the shit quickly. It's not like just overly fucking romantic. It's not overly comedic. It's not overly shonen. It works all together. So I think that shit pretty dope. But let me know what you guys thought about the series though, man. Who gives a fuck what I think? Let me know what you thought about the series. Let me know what you enjoyed. Let me know if you're a fan of the shit. Vashthekyd,